Someone lied to you this week, probably more than once. Your friend said they just got busy, when really they just didn't want to come. Your partner said traffic was insane, when really they left 20 minutes late. Someone at work blamed the system being down for something that was just forgotten. None of that felt like a big deal in the moment. That's exactly why it worked. Here's the part that should bother you, a little. The CIA have long studied exactly these kinds of lies, not the dramatic ones, the small, ordinary ones, by noticing the gap between what a story should sound like and what it actually sounds like. Several signals stacked together in those first few seconds can give a trained interviewer a reason to look closer before the sentence is even finished. You don't need a badge to use it. You just need to know where to look. And once you do, you're going to replay this week and realize how many of those small, easy lies you walked right past. Not because you weren't paying attention, but because nobody ever showed you the seams. That changes today. Stick around because Technique 6 is the one that actually breaks people, and it's not the one you'd expect. Why this matters. Quick thing first. This isn't about turning your partner into a suspect or grilling your coworker over lunch. Most lies are small. I already ate when the dishes were untouched. I sent it already when it shows up 10 minutes later. What they cost you is the real problem. Trust pointed in the wrong direction. Decisions made on bad information. A relationship built around a version of someone that was never quite real. And here's where almost everyone gets it wrong. They hunt for one magic signal, a glance away, a nervous hand, a pause. None of that proves anything on its own. What matters is the pattern, the timing, the shift from someone's normal. Let's build it, piece by piece. 1. Ask it backwards. Did you have a good night? Everything okay? Did you forget? Those are exit ramps. Yes, fine, done. You already know how this goes because you've asked them before and gotten nothing back. Instead, ask a question that assumes the thing happened. Not did you go out, but what kept you out so late. Now there's no easy door. They either tell you what happened or they start building something. And building takes longer than remembering. Keep it light. The second it sounds like an accusation, people get careful, and careful is a much harder read than honest. 2. The first few seconds. Ask the real question. Then do nothing. Don't fill the silence. Watch what happens in that gap. A pause, hands suddenly needing somewhere to go. A voice that starts a half step off. Alone, none of it means anything. People fidget for 100 boring reasons. What you're actually hunting is a cluster. 2 or 3 of these landing together right after a question that should have had an easy answer. One signal is noise. A cluster is a pattern, and CIA-trained interviewers are trained to count, not guess. 3. Know their baseline. You can't spot off without knowing normal first. Before anything sensitive comes up, notice how someone behaves with nothing at stake. Pace, eye contact, what their hands do when they're relaxed. That's your reference point. There is no universal tell. Someone avoiding eye contact isn't automatically lying. The only real question is, did something change? Fast talkers suddenly slowing down. Steady eye contact suddenly dropping to the floor. The tell was never the behavior. It's the departure from who they normally are. 4. Check the story twice. Ask about the same event twice from different angles, spaced apart. Early, you hit the gym yesterday, right? Later, almost in passing, how long were you there for? Someone recalling something real pulls both answers from one memory so they line up without effort. Someone who built the story is rebuilding it each time, and rebuilt things drift. Times shift, order changes. One mismatch means nothing. Memory is imperfect. Several mismatches around the same event is a pattern. 5. The escape hatch. Listen for I think, probably, I guess, as far as I remember. These aren't lies. Plenty of honest people hedge out of habit. but hedging that lands exactly on the one detail that should be certain is worth a second look. The other escape hatch is the subject change, a sudden joke. Oh, that reminds me. A pivot that's timed a little too perfectly, right as a question starts closing in. Don't accuse, just notice. 6. The interrupt. This is the one that actually breaks people, and it's the technique CIA interviewers reach for when everything else is inconclusive. In the middle of someone's story, cut in, not aggressively, just curiously. Wait, what were you doing right before that? Let them answer, then hand it straight back. Okay, go ahead. Here's why it works. A real memory doesn't move, so picking it back up costs nothing. A managed story is being actively held together in real time, and the interruption forces the person to drop it and grab it again, cold. Watch what happens in that second. A hesitation that doesn't belong, a restart that doesn't quite connect to where they left off, a new detail that wasn't there 30 seconds ago. That's not nerves, that's the visible cost of managing something instead of remembering it. 7. Plant something false. The last one, and it requires restraint. Slip a small, non-true detail into the conversation like you're simply recalling it. You said it was raining that day, right? Even though rain was never mentioned. Someone telling the truth corrects you almost on reflex because there's nothing to protect. Someone managing a story is more likely to let it slide or quietly build on it because contradicting you feels riskier than agreeing with one small non-true thing. You're not testing their memory anymore. You're testing what they're protecting. How it actually looks together. Picture this. You ask a friend how their weekend went. Good, just stayed in, watched a movie. Easy question, easy exit, but you go backwards anyway. What'd you end up watching? A half-second pause, longer than it should be for something that just happened. One signal, noise, maybe. You let it go. 10 minutes later, casually, was the movie any good or was it kind of a background noise thing? And now the story shifts. First, they were watching intently. Now it was just on in the background. Small contradiction, still not proof. So you interrupt something else they say a minute later. Wait, what were you doing right before that? And hand it back. They stumble slightly, picking the thread back up. That's 3 separate techniques. 3 small signals landing on the same 20 minutes of their weekend. Individually, nothing. Together, a pattern you didn't have to accuse anyone to see. Where this lands. None of these prove anything by themselves. A pause means nothing alone. A hedge means nothing alone. A dropped glance means nothing alone. What matters is convergence. Several signals, same story, same moment, same detail, all pointing the same direction. You don't need to confront anyone. You don't need to announce you caught them. You just need to know, because knowing quietly is usually enough to change what you do next. Ask better questions, know their baseline. Watch the pattern, not the moment. Which technique are you actually trying first? The backwards question, the interrupt, or the false detail? Tell me in the comments. I'm Sam, and I'll be reading every one of them. If this video helped you, subscribe for more videos that will help you become better every day.